panel, as Tom and Ryan covered, it's really interesting thinking about new formats. I think everyone in this audience probably has the similar problem in that we're living in a world of consumers who are opting out of advertising. They're choosing to block ads, they're going to websites or using mobile apps where they can have advertising-free experiences. And so as publishers, we're all sitting around saying, how can we create better ad experiences? How can we create new ad formats or new ad products that people actually want to engage with and have a pleasant experience? At the same time, we all have to make money, right? And how can we create these new, engaging, unique formats that consumers love while also leveraging the programmatic demand that exists out there and profiting from what exists out there in an automated ecosystem of all these buyers who are excited to use their data and do it in programmatic ways. And so I'm really excited to talk about this, and we have some great panelists here today from some of the biggest publishers in the world who are really pushing these formats across mobile devices, desktop, and the living room, which is really exciting. I was going to start off with a fun fact like Ryan did, and then as we started talking, I realized we all actually had the same hairstylist. So I figured that was really the only fun fact that we needed to figure out. But to set a baseline, we'll start off with Doug Fleming here from Hulu and see some of the new ad formats that these companies are working with. So Doug, why don't you kick it off here, and we'll roll a little video and have Doug talk about it.
So this is our first foray into the living room, which is where the bulk of our consumption happens. And traditionally, we had been rolling 30s and 15s that the market's been giving us, but this is the first interactive ad that allows us to kind of positively affect this audience and give them something more.
Yeah, very cool. So are you currently able to leverage this in any sort of programmatic way, or is it something that you guys are hand selling?
Right now it's hand sold, but absolutely the goal is ubiquity. So we're rolling out with several partners. There are some commitments based on some financial commitments. So right now it's a hand-sold option, but the goal is always to be ubiquitous. So that I would say relatively soon it will be available for that.
Moving in that direction, that's great. Well, why don't we move on to Jay Schiller, Director of Monetization at Microsoft, who's been focusing on the Xbox business now for a while after years of Microsoft Video. Jay's now moved into that, so let's see what Xbox has cooking.
Yeah, great. So we're just teeing up some ads that are available on the Xbox platform today that are fully interactive to 49 million users that are sitting in their living room watching their television with a game controller in their hand and ready to interact with ads in much the same way they interact with games or entertainment content on the platform. So as you can see, it's a number of verticals, both game publishers, which are endemic content companies, and auto and even consumer brands.
Jay, are these, do you guys consider these native ad units? Is that how you think of them there?
Well, I think they are. Certainly they're very immersive in the, we didn't set out and say, hey, let's build some native ad units, but certainly when you come to the home screen of the Xbox console, the ad is a sponsored tile amongst other tiles, and it's very seamlessly integrated into the user experience. So I would call it highly native, and then obviously the immersive experience is
very cool.
Very much.
Let's see what, not to put Spotify on the spot, but let's see what Les Hollander, Global Head of Audio Monetization at Spotify, let's see what you guys have going.
There are lots of ways to save money. Here's one way: Esurance. They were born online and built to save. They major in efficiency, which means when they save, you save. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
So we've recently launched audio ads programmatically through AppNexus with several DSPs in a 15 and 30-second format across mobile, iOS, and Android, and have seen some great success with it. It's a first-to-market opportunity in that it's data-driven and can be optimized in real time.
What sort of, you guys have had this live for a little while. What sort of results are you seeing from, taking a new kind of audio format, tying it with what's on the screen, and making that available programmatically?
We're really seeing people wanting to complete their mobile campaigns with audio in particular. So if there's a mobile programmatic campaign that's planned, this is really the final piece that's driving significant enhancement in engagement with audio. What's interesting is we're seeing a very high take rate across Europe, in the UK, Germany, and France, as well as Australia and Asia, and a tremendous amount of inbound inquiries in the US, and we still have to bridge that gap to get more people to buy.
That's an interesting piece of thinking about it as sort of the last piece of the campaign to really tie it off.
Yes.
Very cool. So, I think as your company started working on these ad formats, all very cool, they feel more engaging than looking at a standard, 300 by 250 ad and clicking on it. As you were planning these, did you say, hey, we're going to build these ad formats or ad products, and we're going to get a year of premium sales out of it, and then we're going to shift these into programmatic channels? Or did you design them with programmatic in mind to think, hey, what kind of demand are we going to go after here, and how are we going to build the buying experience in order to leverage the demand behind it? Doug, what did you guys think about?
Everything for us is going to be about automation. So we don't think of we're building something for programmatic or a specific demand. It's ubiquity of all of our demand.
Everything automated.
Yes. So it better be, or I'm not going to be here anymore. But by this time next year, everything will be available across all platforms, all ad units to be bought in an automated fashion. So there are niche integrations that are going to remain, things that we do with the Mindy project that are very specific to Mindy and that advertiser. But ad formats, I think we lean on the marketplace and the bright people we have that oversee our marketing efforts to dream these up and then partner with the best people to pull it off. I think historically we've built a lot of our own, but I think the future is looking to opportunities that we can sell ubiquitously across all platforms. Let those people do what they do best and let us focus on what's best for us.
Interesting. Jay, obviously Microsoft chose to outsource their ad sales to AOL in most of the major markets, and then is working with AppNexus, purely programmatic in most of the rest of the world. How do you think about whether this is a hand-sold, are those Xbox ads all hand-sold or any available programmatically?
Yeah, these are available hand-sold today. The ecosystem and programmatic space around connected TV, I would say in general, and these more interactive units is nascent at this point, but certainly adding automation into workflows, letting advertisers bring in their data, leveraging our partnerships. We want to bring more efficiencies and open it up to as much demand as possible, and there's no reason this platform can't move into programmatic, which we're actively exploring.
Yeah, and is that a technical hurdle that needs to be jumped over, or do you think it's more just, buyers need to be ready to sort of buy that way, and is it platforms aren't supporting it?
Yeah,
why do you think it's nascent?
It's a little bit of all. I think there's a lot of programmatic in the market today, a display categorically all up. But a lot of that is driven by standards and data and measurement and way people are used to buying at scale. In newer environments like connected television and game consoles, there aren't the standards and the cookies, and they aren't as readily available. So we need to plumb things in a little differently. But we see it happening already. It's even happening in linear television, where workflow automation and data are becoming incredibly important part of the buying, and I think this is the natural evolution of our business.
Cool. I think another thing that probably in publishers that I've talked to have thought about is, when you start looking at these new formats, there's often engineering work that needs to be done internally in your company in order to make these things happen. And there's a spectrum between, what a Pinterest or a Snapchat does, where they build the ad formats themselves, they build the entire buying process, they build the reporting, they build the management of it all, versus doing a little engineering work and then partnering with an ad technology company or something to build those things that maybe already exist. Spotify, you guys obviously chose to partner with AppNexus and Rubicon Project and Trade Desk to make your stuff happen. How did you think about using your engineering resources, and do you think it's the right move to go down the Pinterest route or do what you guys did?
Yeah, it's an interesting issue for us. We have over 700 engineers in the company across the globe, and many of them are devoted to the user experience as well as the creator experience, creating products like Discover Weekly or Fresh Finds, which we just introduced. And then, you look at it from the build, buy, or partner. And we took a step back and looked at all of that and realized for us, the best opportunity was that there was technology already in the marketplace that we can use and enhance for our purposes, and that's why we decided to partner.
Us too. Historically, we have built, and at Hulu, we are about choice. So we have different platforms, different subscription models. But we've built a lot of our own ads. We have an ad selector, a branded entertainment option as well. But that is a one-off, and as we start to look at what our challenges are, we need to refocus those engineers on our core businesses. So I think you'll see us in this example right here that we just showed. We're going to partner with the best in breed in the marketplace, so it can be bought ubiquitously, and we're not deploying assets to one time or limited options.
And Jay, I think I've been to all 77 Microsoft campuses in Seattle. You guys have a lot of engineers. But yet you do partner with AppNexus for a lot of, mostly all of your ad technology at this point. Why did you guys decide to not use your own internal engineering teams to build a lot of those pipes and reporting and,
Well, we did for a long time, and I think what we found is that there's a lot of companies like yourself and a lot of buyers in the marketplace that want to, bring demand to Microsoft. I think publishers have the biggest choice ever than they did in capturing demand that is being innovated by third parties. So I think leveraging that makes a lot of sense. You have to trade that off against the cost of it. I'm in New York this week. I'm meeting with any number of companies that just wants to get on Microsoft and get on Xbox with their demand and their creative ideas and innovation. And Microsoft can focus on its users and providing a great user experience and maximizing our audience and data and making sure that the ad formats are accretive.
That's a good point about the different types of demand. And when you all were creating these ad products, were you really thinking about that? Were you thinking about what type of demand do we want to get in here? How are we going to go get that?
Yeah, particularly with audio, the challenge for us is you have different types of demand. You have spot radio, broadcast demand, you have network audio demand, you have digital demand, and then, in terms of the long-term view is programmatic could be part of a self-service opportunity for us, and that would be extremely important, but you need to talk to each of those constituencies a little bit differently. Certainly the digital demand source inside of the agencies where there are people who are have a high level of technical intelligence is much easier as opposed to broadcast has a decent level of technical intelligence but doesn't adopt things very quickly. And there's a sort of a misnomer out in the marketplace of that automation is programmatic, is taking a audio spot from a radio station and being able to insert that into the log of a radio station, have it run in a radio station in Wyoming, is really data-driven programmatic when it's really automation. So part of what we need to do is to educate and evangelize, and it's something that we're doing every day.
Les, let me ask you another question here. If do you want these publishers out here to start running audio ads of the similar format to you guys in order to grow the overall, buyer interest in that type of ad format or unit, or do you want, it to remain something where if you want those types of ads, you basically have to come to Spotify?
I'm a believer in everybody's boat rises as more people come to the party. So right now, we have the majority of the premium inventory in the space. We'd love Pandora to join, the New York Times to join, SoundCloud to join, other people to join. And as there's a higher proliferation of consumer electronic devices that are out of focus, in addition to mobile, I think audio renaissance will continue to be that much more important.
Very cool. Nice. Let's talk for a second, a lot of this thinking is not just about money, but also the better consumer engagement. How do you measure, or are you measuring any sort of engagement metrics, and what would those be to see if these are performing better than, throwing standard IAB display units up there? Doug, what are you guys doing?
Obviously, your video offers us, the interactivity offers us a lot of ability to track that. I think for us, at Hulu, we look at it as like the marketplace. I just heard myself say marketplace. I grew up outside of Boston. So the marketplace demands it because they assume what's next, what else. And I think us just running repurposed 30s or 15s, while that right now creates a lot of revenue for us, we're always looking at what else can we do. So there are a lot of touch points on this particular creative and others like it that allow us to measure and retweak our offering. I mean, the beauty is we sit in a pod, so we look like a linear TV, but we're not constrained by that pod, so we can run 17-second ads or 5-second ads. We control all of that. So we want to continue to explore, and again, I will say the marketplace really pushes us to do that. This is just one iteration. I'm assuming it'll be ever evolving. But user engagement, making sure that our ad loads are lighter, keeping people who have opted in for that commercial experience engaged is absolutely the goal.
Yeah.
I think to your point, Doug, creative is super important. Using all the data we have and the platforms that we're on to call out people who are listening and watching, and use the data of the moment that they're in. So music is a proxy for behavior, and I'm sure there's certain viewing that's a proxy for behavior, whether it's watching a cooking show, a home improvement show, whatever it is. If we can use all this logged in user data, if we can use those moments and the data we have across device for better creative, I think we're going to be that much better. To your point about engagement, in particular, I think it's incumbent upon all of us in the room to start thinking about new KPIs. Click-through rate is dead. We have view-through rates, but when you think about it, we're really interested in the time people are spending with us, the time that they're looking at a display ad or in a site, the time that they're viewing a TV ad, the time that they're listening to an audio ad, the time that they're playing Xbox. So how do we create a KPI around time that we're selling in the future that'll be cross-platform?
Yeah, and I think I would just answer the question that, with the experiences we showed, users are highly engaged because we tailor the creative. We know from experience, and the templates are made such that the user is going to engage in a way that they want to engage. It's helpful to their experience. And then we can measure all the different clicks and buttons, not just click-through rate, but also the time they're spending, which is in the order of minutes or more.
Right.
Some of the offerings have sweepstakes built in, so now they're longer-term involvement. And furthermore, some of the offerings have connection to the Xbox store on the platform, so you can drive a digital download and then follow-on consumption of, if you're promoting a show, like Hulu has an app on the platform, promote a new title that comes out, they can drive the audience right to that title and actually have follow-on consumption that long-lasting.
So really, this ad format really becomes an ad product that over time you really have a long journey that really an ad creative can turn into a longer engagement with.
Yeah, there's a long-term value for both the advertiser and
Really cool.
and the consumer.
Yeah, that's really cool. all three of you have a presence in the living room, right? In different ways. It may be watching Hulu on your TV, it may be playing your Xbox or watching TV on Xbox, maybe listening to Spotify and while you're cooking or whatever it is you're doing. Do you think of the living room as a different advertising experience, or is it the same depending on what device? And where do you think, is there a future for programmatic in the Internet of Things living room world? Les, why don't we start with you?
No doubt there's a future for it. There's a future for reaching people in those moments, whether they are in the living room, in the kitchen, in their office, studying, working, exercising, etc., and really understanding what device they're on. As there are more and more connected devices, there are more and more opportunities. So again, it comes back to good creative, it comes back to using the data, and it comes back to understanding the moment that people are in.
Yeah, I mean, I think programmatic, whether it's automation or data-driven impression by impression, decisioning, I think is a fact of life. And I think it's, going to be in digital media regardless of the screen shape. And I think that's, true in the living room. We're already seeing it, from traditional TV moving towards programmatic workflow automation to more digital connected TV app ecosystem formats. And so I think that's just a reality.
Everything for us is about the living room. That's where it's like 73% of our consumption comes in the living room. And we don't look at programmatic as not a separate strategy. We feel it's about automation. You can shovel sand against a tide all you want, but it's moving in that direction. Use your analogy, a horse has left the barn, all that. But the use of data and great content, that's going to happen. We don't look to hold that back in any way. We want to open that up. So that's everything that we look at. We feel like whether you want to move your money hand-to-hand combat and do IO transfer, that's fine. If you want to move your dollars in an automated fashion, that's fine. We just want the opportunity to be able to sell. Yes, yeah, I'm an equal opportunity employer. All the money you want, we are here to accept it. And we feel like we provide good value for it because we have premium content and a premium space. We only charge for 100% completion on our ad views, and our viewabilities, whatever metric you want to use, are through the roof. So we feel absolutely automation and programmatic, however you want to say it, is here to stay and absolutely part of our portfolio.
Yep. If I could just add, I think a real opportunity for automation down the road is not to have the living room versus mobile versus display versus whatever's coming next, but it's to have a continuum, to find that user across wherever device form factor they're looking at. I mean, in 5-10 years, the use of three-dimensional experiences, virtual reality, augmented reality, however you want to describe it, that's going to become part of the living room experience and beyond the living room, and I think it's just going to proliferate across devices and experience types.
It's wild to think about. I'm gonna use that. I think we'll put on our website. Don't shovel sand against a tide.
It's good.
Start working in this way. Yeah, we'll source you. To wrap it up, it's always good to have this audience walk away with, something that they can take home and start doing. What's your one top tip for thinking about new ad formats and trying to maximize the demand behind that ad format?
We're ever forward. So as you saw that video, that's going to affect the living room, but we sell video. So those types of things will be ubiquitous, that user experience. But we're doing some really cool things with virtual reality and Live Nation that we're going to be rolling out that we're really bullish on. So I think truthfully, it's about keeping pace and then outpacing the marketplace.
So everyone here should be all in on video, virtual reality.
Yes.
Push it forward.
Okay. And have a subscription to Hulu. Yes.
And have a subscription to Hulu.
Yes.
Are you giving any free coupon codes today?
I would love to give free coupon codes to everybody. Yes.
Yeah. And watch Hulu on Xbox.
Jay's going to give away free
watch
Xbox
it on Xbox.
One.
Yes, that'd be great.
You got to skate where the puck is going, and have a vision on the future and march that way. You also have to deliver, monetization today, and fill the existing slots with revenue and make sure the experience is accretive to the user, And so there's evolution there. And as I said before, there's, any number of companies now that want to bring you the latest, greatest in-read format and rich media idea, and you need to do your homework and make sure that it's, the cost structure is going to work and the experience is going to work for the users, and then you got to be really nice to your engineers and then put your energies on your user experience.
As it relates to audio, excuse me, go all in. Don't test in the blind. Be transparent. And educate the marketplace. It's a brand new product that's ripe for a frictionless process like Programmatic that can only improve over time.
Yeah, I would bet that audio is an opportunity that not enough people have really started digging into yet, that there could be ways to add that to their ad product catalog. So,
Yeah.
very cool. Well, thank you, gentlemen, and hope everyone learned something good.